Welcome everyone to Kelly's Kitchen. Today we're going to be making some marinara sauce. Really like this recipe for a couple reasons. You do not have to peel these bad boys. That is awesome. Talk about a time saver. Skin on the tomato has a pectin in it, so it's going to help us thicken the sauce. So a couple things we need for our recipe today. We obviously need tomatoes. We need 9 cups of chopped tomatoes. We need some fresh oregano. If you don't have fresh, you can definitely use dried, but I have fresh here, so I'm going to use that. Some tomato paste, some chopped up garlic, some lemon juice or balsamic vinegar, your preference there. You could also add some sugar to it, but again, I don't add sugar to any of my stuff, if at all possible, so I'm not going to be putting any sugar in this today. We have a little red pepper flake, some olive oil, salt and pepper, of course. I'm doing this in 2 batches. I want to do one with the red pepper flake and one without, just to see what the difference is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this all chopped up and ready to go, and we're going to put it in our slow cooker. That's the other nice thing about this recipe is we're using the slow cooker. We don't have to stand over the stove. We don't have to keep stirring it all the time. So this is a great recipe if you have other things to do throughout the house today. So what we're going to do is when we have our tomatoes, we're going to cut them lengthwise. This one is actually nice and meaty. We're going to squish it out into the bowl here. I need to make it, oh, that was wonderful. Your kids would love doing this today. Squish it out into the bowl, and we need 9 cups of tomatoes. So this one has a little bit of a core. I am going to carefully cut that out. They don't all have that big of a core, so you really wouldn't have to worry about it because you are going to emulsify it anyways or blend it up. But that one I just want to cut out a little bit. So we're going to throw it in there. We're going to do that again. Let's see how big of a mess I can make this time. Point at the tomato side down, the tomato down, have the core up on top. It'll squirt out the bottom much better. And again, if you wanted to cut that core out, be very careful. Cut it out a little bit. We could do that before we squished them as well. So we're going to keep doing that until we have 9 cups. And then I also didn't mention I do need onion. I have to go grab my onion and get that chopped up. We need 2 cups of onion chopped up. So let me go do that, finish these tomatoes, and we'll get back to it. Okay, so I already have one slow cooker going. We have our 6 pounds of tomatoes here, but we're not going to put those in just yet. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a 1/4 cup of olive oil. We're going to put that in the bottom. We're going to do 6 ounces of tomato paste. I got to pop this here and get it squished in there. Get that all in. 2 cups of onion. This is going to be a tight squeeze, I think. 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, or you could use balsamic vinegar. Either one is fine. You could also put some sugar in there, like I said. So if you wanted to do sugar, I would do 4 teaspoons of sugar. We have 2 tablespoons of garlic. We're putting that in. 2 tablespoons of oregano. And a 1/4 cup of salt. A 1/4 cup. No, let's not do a 1/4 cup. A 1/4 teaspoon or up to a teaspoon. I'm just putting a little bit in because you can always add more of that later. I got to grab my spoon here. We're going to give this a quick mix. The red pepper flake and the pepper we'll add later. That's all mixed up. Now we're going to throw our tomatoes on top, carefully. Pack them in there. There we go. And put our lid on. And these are going to go for 2 hours on high. You could do them on high for 2 hours or on low for up to 4 hours. We're going to do ours on high for 2 hours. We'll be back and we'll take a look at them and we'll go from there. Okay, so our sauce has been cooking for about 2 hours. We're going to open this up and take a look here. Everything looks really good. I have my immersion blender out. So here, I'm going to zoom in here as carefully as I can so you can kind of check this out a little bit. Looks all really good. Okay, so we're just gonna take our immersion blender and now be very careful. I really don't want this to fly in my face. So I'm actually gonna kind of push it down a little bit. This is really hot. Ooh, like that. Keep it down in the sauce. Oh, I did it again. Really all I'm doing here is just making sure the tomatoes are all chopped up and the skins are all chopped up. It can be as chunky as you want it to be. So now I'm going to just take my spoon here and just see kind of what that looks like. There's a couple big chunks yet. I might have to hit that spot right there. Otherwise, it's looking pretty good. It smells really good. I think we got it the way we want it for now. We can always come back and get it a little bit more when we're done. We're actually going to let this go now for another 3 hours on high or 6 hours on low if that's what you wanted to do. The other thing we're going to do is, because we want to get some of the liquid off of there, I'm going to take this cover off and just turn it sideways a little bit, so there's a little crack here and there's a little crack there, just to get that water to come out so it doesn't sit in there and make our sauce too thin. I'm going to do that with my next crock pot here. I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to check back in 3 hours. Okay, so we have our marinara. It's been going for another 3 hours. Now I'm going to take the lid off. I'm going to let you check this out. It's obviously been bubbling. It's very hot, and it has definitely thickened up quite a bit. If you wanted to put it in your regular blender, or if you wanted to use your immersion blender and blend it up a little bit more, that would be fine. This, I actually like the consistency. I think it's doing really well. So I'm going to shut this off. And now I'm going to add a little pepper. And you're going to do this to taste. So you're going to want to taste this. And I'll add a little bit of salt. And to this one, I'm going to add some of the red pepper flakes. I want to see what happens. The other one I'm not going to do that with, so we'll see how that goes. I'm going to mix it in, and then I'll taste it to make sure that it tastes okay. I'm going to wait a little bit though until it cools. I told you a couple reasons why I like this recipe. 1, you did not have to peel the tomatoes. 2, you can put it in the crock pot. You don't have to sit over the stove, watch it cook, keep stirring it all the time, making sure it doesn't stick to the bottom. And 3, once we're done with this now, we can stick it in the freezer. I'll keep a little bit out and I'll use some in the next day or 2 here with probably some meatballs and some spaghetti squash maybe. Otherwise, the rest of it I'm going to put in my food saver bags and I'm going to lay it flat and freeze it. But again, I'm going to wait until this is completely cooled before I put it in the bags. I really hope you guys enjoyed our recipe today for the marinara sauce. Please like and subscribe down below as always. Any comments are greatly appreciated. Have a great day.